Hi, okay, so I'm now going to make my loaf of bread. So for that I need first of all water, 1¼ cups of water. This is a 1/4 cup measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into that I put my yeast. I'm using dried yeast here. You can get recipes without yeast, but I find this is a really nice recipe. And this is 1½ teaspoons of yeast. 1½ I'll just show you that. What you do is you just swirl it around and wait for the yeast to sort of dissolve. It takes a minute or so. So while it's doing that, what I'm going to do, probably filming, is I'm going to lightly oil this bowl which my dough will go into to rise, as I usually just use my hand. Literally just go around the bowl, just putting oil. And that will really help, because when you put your dough in to rise, it gets quite gloppy and sticky. So this will allow you just to tip it out to do your second kneading. So I'll put that to one side now. That's just got oil in it. Right, so my yeast has pretty much dissolved. So what I'm going to do now is add 2 cups of ripe sourdough starter. Now this is ripe, it's got some really nice sort of little bubbles on it, it's frothy, looks very healthy, and I need 2 cups of that. So I'm going to use this measure, which is probably the easiest way of doing it, because it's quite messy. So this is 1 cup. Again, it's quite thick and gloppy, and I'll show you in a minute what that looks like in the bowl. And there's my 2nd cup. I'll use one of these spatulas because it's actually quite good to clean out completely. So let me put this to one side and I'll show you what this looks like. So it really looks quite murky, doesn't it? So just give that a good old stir around. I either use this spatula, or sometimes again I'll use my chopstick. Kind of got into the chopstick habit. So once that's sort of turned around, I guess they call it shaggy, you can then add your flour. Just use regular plain flour, 4 cups. So in that goes. This recipe will actually make 2 loaves of bread. So again, just stir that all in. Now I'm going to put the camera back, because once that's all stirred in, I've got one more ingredient to add. We'll put it out onto the board for a light kneading. The last ingredient to add is salt, and they say a tablespoon. I don't like to use much salt. I don't think it's actually needed for the quality of the bread, it's more the flavour. So I will just put less than a tablespoon. I'll probably put a teaspoon in there, which I think is alright for 2 loaves. In we go. So now I'm just going to really stir this around so it's really well mixed. And again, it ends up being a sort of loose, slightly sticky consistency dough. And when it's all stirred in, what you need to do, let me get rid of some of this stuff, is tip it onto a floured, lightly floured work surface. So again, this is the sort of consistency, it's quite sticky. So I'm going to put it all onto this work surface, empty my bowl. And just lightly knead it. It needs very little kneading. It's a great recipe. So what I tend to do, because it is so gloppy, is I'll just put a bit of flour in my hand, and then just kind of turn it over a couple of times. Just really grabs some of the air, to be honest. Hopefully you can see that. I need to get myself a decent camera. Okay, so it just captures the air. I really don't need it very much. I think you can over knead it. Then once you're happy with that, get your oily bowl. Put your dough in and just swizzle it around to kind of oil it all around. So actually that looks really nice. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cover it loosely and put it somewhere warm to rise. I don't actually have an airing cupboard or a particularly warm place at the moment, so what I use is I've got this kind of slightly padded cooler bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my water bottle, put this in the bottom and put my bowl on top. So I'll just show you what it looks like, and then when we get to the next stage you'll see how much this has risen. Okay.